This is the network service of the NTA.
Doctors or that are not married and they're doing these incredible.
Well, there's a myriad of things. So I think first of all we have to go back to the writer. You are very well known for your teaching skills. Your students speak a whole lot about you.
Miss Nigeria competition.
And I said, let's pick them up, let's take them back to Nigeria and let's teach them a different kind of job.
It's always a joy to be on this platform, The Woman, where we bring you delectable ladies who are reaching out, touching lives, and, compulsively making change around wherever they find themselves. Today, I have a lady who is, for me, very exciting, a lady who is very daring, a lady who, for her, it is not just enough to go to school and study. It is not just enough to make money, but it is a compulsive need to reach out to people, especially the young ones. Join me as I welcome Dr. Wumi Hassan, a computer specialist. Nice to have you on set.
Thank you.
All your life you've done science, and computer. I get to imagine people like Mike Zuckerberg and the physicist who just passed on, Stephen. May he so rest in peace. But you look quite different. Maybe that's because you're a woman.
Perhaps.
All right, but I'm wondering, a lot of people, women are going into what you're doing, but a lot of times we're finished, we don't really take it to the next level. But you have been, taking it to not just the next level, but finding difference in what you're doing. What's the move? What's the push? What propels you?
Wow, that's a big one. But yes, first of all, let me say, I want to say thank God to my parents, my dad, my mom, especially my mother. She actually was a very great woman, and she's still alive, and I thank God for her. She's not literate. My mom didn't go to school, maybe just at the primary level, but she made up her mind that all her children, especially the females, must go to school.
That's great.
And of course, my father was a no person. I grew up in a family where if you don't go to school, you don't have anything to ask for. In other words, my father asks you every time, what have you done this period? And then what next for your school? So that was a great motivation. So I grew up in a family, though polygamous, that actually gave everybody an opportunity to think about your future. And so I went to school studying computer science, and I realized that there were quite a lot of interesting things about computer science. That time it was almost new, and everybody, my university were the second set, though it's a state university, And then it was getting interesting to me that, so we can actually be either a software programmer or an hardware person. And I particularly became interested in the hardware, interestingly. So it takes me to challenge the status quo, because it seems the mask you want to climb, it's for males. And then I was asking all the time, why can't I do it? We both learned in class. We all did very well in the school.
You and the boys.
And then you and the boys. And so why can't I do it? But unfortunately, the first slam I had was going for a job interview. And they told me, yes, you did very well. As a matter of fact, you came first. But because you are a lady, we think you can't do it. Wow. I cried out of the hall. I ran out. Then I was married, interestingly. So I ran to the shoulders of my husband, who just felt, no, that's not supposed to be. And so I volunteered to still work with them, even though they are not giving me full charge.
Okay.
So I just want to work. I just want to learn more. And that time, what was intriguing was the fact that beyond what people see as their computers that work, there are a lot of back-end activities that goes into what we see. So interestingly, my thesis at BSc was on client-server system, which gives me an opportunity to understand what they call the server end of the system. So what we see majorly is like a workstation, is like the client services. But the server head was another experience. And I got a motivation to love that with my what they call industrial training time. I work with an IT firm where two great men, today I give a shout out to them, Mr. Ayo Kupolui and Mr. Olarewaju Elijah. They motivated me. They looked at me and said, "Hey girl, what do you think you would do with us in hardware room?" So they initially would send me to the secretaries and said, "Go and learn Microsoft Word, learn PowerPoint. Those are things that ladies should
Women do.
And then I will go and learn, and I will come back and peep into the hardware room and see the guys, all the machines everywhere dismantled. And I'll come back and say, but that's why I came for industrial training. Give me the chance to learn. And so when they saw that I was pushy, so
that spirit of never
yes,
giving up. A lot of people come around to learn IT, and then they are
just satisfied with carrying
papers.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I wasn't. And I was happy that both of them gave me a welcoming. And in fact, as a matter of fact, the BSc thesis, I chose the topic. They gave me the topic. So till tomorrow, I said to young people today as I mentor them, I didn't forget. In fact, I was speaking to my examiners as if I was talking to both of them in the office, because they make me every morning give an assignment, come back to the office and talk to them. It's not just write it down. I talk to them. So that builds me up. I learned to talk. You know, I came out of the normal female, you know, cocoon of just keep quiet. I didn't know so much, but doing the thesis, I learned a lot. And then fortunately, when I got married, I married to a man who was sending me, I was still sending to your young people a few days ago. My husband made me to sign that you are going to do your master's before having children. So that was like, wow, what is all of this?
So and for masters, you chose a very
So I went
unique...
straight. Interestingly, at Obafemi Awolowo University, I met with another great man who today is a celebrity in the industry. The professional, I mean, he's the president of the CPN, Professor Aderomu. Professor Aderomu became my master supervisor. And the first thing he told me is that I read your thesis or your dissertations, and I saw you did client server in your BSc. I am a mobile technology person, so I want you to go head on to that research, choose a career in that area. So I felt, oh, I saw a mentor in him immediately. So I chose, again, performance analysis of mobile client system. So that is like an upgrade of what I did in my BSc. So for me today, going along those academic, you know, opportunities became a force to make me understand that there's a career path. There's a difference between going to school and choosing a career. Many people go to universities and they can't place themselves within a career. But somehow I got to be seeing mentors. And that's why, like you said, where people go for industrial trainings, I ask them, why are you here? All my work life, I ask young people, why are you here? What do you want to gain after here? You may not have a clue where you are coming in, but understand the system of the office where you are working, and then see where you fit in, and then begin to look for one or two of them among the men.
Now, with your experience,
yeah,
with the young people, I know you're so much into mentorship.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most challenging, issue for them? What's the most challenging issue for them?
Everybody wants a quick win or get rich quick attitude. That's what is the most. I just told you of what my experience was. I could have been out of the entire system at that pulpit of that office where they said, you are a lady, you can't do it. But I chose to volunteer. So they gave me a very interesting position, associate staff. For me, it was great. I worked there for over 1 year without a single day pay.
Now, did they get to value your inputs later?
Well, thankfully, yes, they did. And why? Because in between the working there, I started the NGO, which is actually to train women and girls in using computer. I felt if these people felt I'm so good, but I'm not good to work, but I'm good to train people, I can tell people what I know. For me, it was a good plus. You know, you do interviews some places, they just tell you, sorry, we can't take you, you don't know why. But they called me in and told me, this is it, we knew you did very well. But sorry, because we needed a male figure who can do some more strenuous things in the work. We think.
Now I'm beginning to wonder, why did they even make the advertisement open for everybody? They should have, from the time, you know,
that's
inception,
a big issue.
make it all male.
The industrial part of the country or sector should actually begin to think through some of these issues.
Do you think women need to work extra hard?
We really don't need to work extra hard. We just need to be ourselves. Sincerely, when I said, like we are trying to ask what I do with young people today, I tell the girls, don't look down on yourself. It doesn't matter what they say about you. Just go back to who you are. Every time I go back to, oh, I spoke in this place, and they say, oh, madam, you are very good. That was great. That becomes me. That is about me. That's an assessment of me. It's not what any other person feels, oh, because you're a lady, because you are this, because you're that. No, that's not the point. But the fact that I could go somewhere and you asked me to talk about what is computer, and I finish talking about what is computer, I say, oh, I got it. Oh, that means I can impact on you. That's good for me. And that's a motivation. So, in other words, it's not about what society plays you to be, but about who exactly you are. And so, for me, it was, maybe I should say this to you. You know, I actually graduated. When I say this to so many young people, very few of them, they don't believe it. I finished university. One course held me for 1 year in the university. But that didn't change the fact that I have something different inside of me. Today, some of my colleagues wonder, you got, my PhD is almost about 10 years old. I finished my PhD in 2010, or graduated officially in 2010. I finished actually in 2018.
Meanwhile, you had one course that held you
exactly.
back.
Even despite that, then in the university, when that one course held me down, that was not enough to change who I am.
It wasn't a minus.
You know, it wasn't a minus. For me, it was actually an opportunity to learn more. And of course, I interacted more with some of my professors who I never met one-on-one. And that made me a different person. So
what
has
been the most challenging thing for you?
Well, in the industry, the most challenging is probably me. My time. I don't have enough time. A lot of time I tell my staff, I said, nobody, as far as I'm concerned, nobody is an hindrance. The only hindrance I have is me, when I can't meet up so many other things that are right before me. So again, you see, this way I'm talking, perhaps many Nigerians won't talk that way. Everybody wants to see an obstacle here and there. No, me, I don't see that. I've seen people, even when they are antagonizing what I'm doing, I see them as people that gives me ideas on what to do much more better next time. And so there's no enemy, there's nothing. I only have friends. And then I tell people, all the friends are either doing me good or good or good or good.
None does bad. I think I like that perception of life.
No, that's the way to go.
Quite interesting.
From the family setting, from the office setting, I'd worked with government for a period of time. And I had colleagues who felt, so where are you coming from? So the fact that you are running that ahead, that you have that experience, so what? And that's the way the civil service is. But no problem, I don't have a challenge with that. Rather, I take myself immediately and say, what next? So it's not a matter of barrier to see. Many women actually get so depressed almost immediately, either from the family. It could be your husband. And I want to give a shout out to my husband. You know, I tell people with so much, and I'm happy that I'm saying this here, he's a great man. For you to have a husband that told you no children the next 1 year or two, you need to finish your master's, because I had one of your uncles told me before we got married that, oh, marriage, why marriage? She's supposed to do her master's. And he kept it at the back of his heart. So immediately we settled in the marriage. He told me, sorry, no children now. You need to do your master's. So eventually, when I finished my PhD, I called out my uncle back in the US. I said, sir, today I defended my thesis and I'm a PhD holder.
And I'm ready to make
children. And I'm ready to move forward more. You know, so it's not just the master's that it was envisioning for me. It goes beyond that. But see, all of that were because, interestingly, I had so many men. You know, I didn't mention any lady to you. Mm-hmm. So many men from university, BSc, to the camp, to masters, who were mentors. And so that's why I tell women today, it's not about gender equality, the way we put it, and rub shoulders. It's about finding the right people who can take you through who you need to be. And I want to celebrate all of them every time, anywhere. Until tomorrow, till today, they are still part of my life. They are part of what we do in the NGO. There is always a fitting in for all of them to come in.
Your NGO, I'm really interested in that, because I had somebody speak about what you do, you know, for people. Talk to me about it. You train people besides training, what else?
We do training, we do capacity building, we do empowerment, and of course we do a lot of networking. And people have asked me, what's the difference between training and capacity building? They are quite different. Empowerment is completely different. So today, when I meet people and I tell them, I said, you train to be an IT person, but you may not have capacity to operate as an IT person. And that's where the difference is. And you may not be empowered. Empowerment means that there is something after your training to make you start up. And that is empowerment. I came starting with the passion to train more women to be empowered. Girls should not have the kind of challenge I had, you know. And why? Because I felt girls should not go and apply for jobs. Like you just mentioned, what if the employers quickly just say, we don't want a lady to come in? For me, that was the only thing that looks saddening in my experience. And from a campus environment, that looks like, why should that happen? But for me, it wasn't such a bad problem. I just took a challenge and said, can I empower another woman? So that when they finish school or they are doing business or they are anywhere, they can actually stand on their own.
Okay, now 15 years down the line, do you think you've been able to, you know, make a change in that direction?
By God's grace. By God's grace. I have people that have worked with us, that have been volunteers, that are doing their own businesses by themselves, are doing greater jobs elsewhere. We have an initiative called Women Leaders Forum. That's for the wives of the big people in the society who have the whole capacity to do many things, but they don't know what to do. So we tell them it's an opportunity to know technology and use it as a platform to develop the younger ones in the communities in everywhere. We train women in ICT, women that are like you in professional fields. You are in the media group, and there are quite a lot of things coming up. You need to keep tab about that, but you need to understand the basics so that will help you to move on. So in the public sector, we have trainings for women, and then we have empowerment for females that are back in the university, what we call our Ladies Summit. Those that are in the tertiary institution, who have hopes and aspirations like I do, and I did. And then we came out, and then you are wondering, what's next? And let me say this to us as women. So many things determine who we are in the future. When you are married to a man who doesn't believe in you going further in business, in professional cadres or career, you become an housewife, and you don't have a choice. And the social norms in the society has told us to obey our husbands. The holy books, like I believe in, the Bible tells me to submit to my husband. So if he says I can't walk, then I can't walk. Then I sit down. So, but what do you do even though you become an housewife in the future? You are a scientist. You are you read technology. You are an engineer. And yet you have any reason. One of my friends finds herself staying with her husband. It's not a bad town, but it's not Lagos. It's not Abuja, so I'm not mentioning the name of the town. So that nobody feels, so if we are here. But somewhere you don't expect, somewhere that you think it's not a social class. Everybody wants to finish and be in Lagos, be in Abuja, be in Port Harcourt, and all those great cities. But you find yourself in a small city. What do? You need to think inwards. Even myself, I get it very fascinating today that, so I can actually build the casing of a computer.
By yourself? By
myself. That means that if I can produce that, then the likes of local companies like Zynos, like Homatech, should consult me and begin to get my products. And that's what we are saying to women. We've learned it. We know the theories of it. Let's begin to do it. And we are happy that many people are ready to partner with us. Engineering technicians, who are those that are actually doing the rods, the cables and all of those stuffs. And many other industries like that. Individuals that are doing things. We are calling more on them. The girls in school, interestingly, when we hosted the Women and Girls Summit last week, we saw that the girls, they produced an ATM machine.
ATM machine?
I can't believe it.
Done by girls?
With wood, with small cables inside. And they pushed the money in, and the money came out. I said, wow. This is interesting. So we want to do it more. We want to show Mr. President in the next couple of... Are you joining me?
Yes, I am.
Yes, in the next couple of months and year coming, that Nigerian women who are scientists, who are engineers, can actually produce. Let's leave the men to whatever they like. But what we are saying is that we have women who have the brain. We are more passionate. We are more settled. And we can actually come together and harness who we are to begin to produce.
Now, you know, women are passionate and every other thing put together, we are talented. We're multitask. You know, somebody once said that we have multiple boxes in our brain and we link them real perfectly well. And I know one of the boxes in our brain is the family box. You've talked so much about Mr. Hassan, your husband, and I'm wondering, the life of an engineer, the life of a computer person, the life of a scientist, a lot of times is very boring, a lot of times is very busy. How do you find time for family? How do you coordinate?
The interesting thing about my life and the career is that everything I want to do is on my laptop.
Including your family?
Everything is on my laptop in my career. So that means that my laptop can sleep by my bedside. That's my logic most of the time. And let me say this openly, you know. A lot of time people have asked me questions. How are you coping? Like you're trying to ask. I learned to separate issues. So I tell my staff, when we are in the office, interestingly, my office is in my house. People have been wondering, Dr. Azad, where is the office? When I give them the address and they come, your house? I say, yes. I'd worked elsewhere and I have seen a bit of the challenges that can come in between my work. Because
that's
with the IT work, you can actually stay on your laptop working and forget that time is gone. Maybe if you step out, you say, oh, it's really dark. Yes, it's dark. And so there's somebody and people, children, that will suffer it. So over time, even though my husband has been pushing, you guys should go out. We go out. We have a lot of partners we work with. But the official office of high-tech is in my house. So we've dedicated the study of the house to be high-tech office. And that's I say to every woman. You know, it's a way of me encouraging every other woman to say, you don't need to be looking for anything elsewhere. The work that high-tech does, by the grace of God, is enormous. But we have a planning center, right? So I can actually make sure that lunch is ready before everybody comes back. I have a helper that works with us in the house, so she has her assignment. The office people will have our assignment. And when we are busy in the office, everything is out. And once it is 5 p.m., though we may have busy tasks that takes us beyond 5 p.m., we switch back to the house. So it's a switching mechanism inside of me, really. My husband is a pastor, so that means I'm a pastor. So what it means is that once I step out of the house to church, everything about office is forgotten. If messages come, I respond to them outside of church. So I am part of the system. I support my husband as much as I can in the ministry. He's a medical doctor, professionally. So that means he's a very busy person also. So what it means is that the home front must be covered when he's not there.
And it must be your job.
And it's my job. In fact, my first job, I tell people my first degree is MRS. You know that MRS degree, Mrs. That's my first degree. So by God's grace, I have been able to do as much. And of course, with my job, it's very challenging. We travel a lot, locally, internationally. But I have a man who is understanding, who understands what I'm doing, who by God's grace have seen our progress in couples of years and could say, oh, thank God for you.
If men get to support the women, the women will go places.
We will go a long place. In
That's
fact,
good to know.
We will go places. I can tell you that sometimes somebody made a small comment to my husband. I said, oh, you gave her 1 bit and she's flying 10 inches. My husband said she was at home for 4 years doing nothing. And nobody came to sympathize with me and find out how we were coping. So if God has helped her to start and she's moving on, I should support her.
I think we should actually have a way of saying our big thank you to
yes,
Dr. Hassan. A big thank you for supporting your wife and by extension, all women. Because all men should actually toe that line. That's my thoughts.
Seriously.
Thank you so much.
I really encourage a lot of women and husbands to please give it out. Just give it a try. Initially, it wasn't funny. He was not so understanding what I'm doing. Oh, why don't you get to office and come back and like everyone? But when I started going to office, of course, too, I put in all my time. And he knew that I was progressively making an impact. By God's grace, I work with the agency where we produce the first science, technology, and innovation policy for Nigeria, proudly led by my little girl sitting here. So he saw all of those progressions and he could work with me. He's a doctor. He also is into family health. So we do a lot of things in policy. My PhD is on policies. So I work with policymakers. I come up with policy programs for organizations, with governments. So he sees all of that. And that is impactful. And I always made a joke to him. I said, you know, everybody may not know Biodun Hassan, but they know Wumi Hassan. And it is not Wumi Ojo, my father's name. It is Wumi Hassan. So it is you they know by knowing me. So anyhow it is, the family, the work life, the church, everything by God's grace is balanced. And you don't want to know that I do some small businesses too. That keeps me going as a woman. You know, it's just a woman
I told you, women, we're multitask. And we never get tired.
Yes.
When you think we are getting down, we're getting up. All we ask is the men should give us the support. Thank you so much, Wumi Hassan, Dr. Wumi Hassan. Like she said, it's not Wumi Ojo. It is Wumi Hassan. Yes. That's the husband's glory. So what it tells us is the men should please give us more support to get to succeed in life, because when we do, really, the glory goes back to you. On that lovely note, I beg to take my leave now on the show, The Woman. Please continue to be supportive of the women. And the women, please never look down on yourself, because you're the spice, the salt of the earth. Bye for now.
Doctors or that are not married, and they are doing these incredible.
Well, there's a mirage of things. I think first of all we have to go back to
the writer. You are very well known for your teaching skills. Your students speak a whole lot about you.
Miss Nigeria competition.
I said, you know, let's pick them up, let's take them back to Nigeria, and let's teach them a different kind of job.